So if you've clicked on this video, I'm pretty sure that you're a procrastinator, or at least you think you procrastinate more than you should. And don't worry, because I've been there too. Now, usually what happens is we think that procrastination is the entire problem, that it is the root cause of the problem, and that we're just lazy or stupid, or we just don't want to do the task. But actually, it's not so. Procrastination is just a symptom, or like the manifestation of whatever's going on underneath. It's never the actual cause. And if you dig a little beneath your procrastination and try to find out what's causing your procrastination, I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to get over it pretty quickly, or at least you'll be able to navigate it a little better. So I'm here to tell you the 6 most common reasons why you procrastinate and how you should deal with each one. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is going to be a 2-part series, because there are 6 different reasons, and since each one is pretty long, I thought I'd cover it nicely in like a 2-part series. Now here I have made a checklist of the 6 most common reasons, and there's like a worksheet for you to complete and in each and every one of them. You can download this template. I'll link it down in the description box below. Or if you don't want to do all that, you could just watch me show you the template and just do the exercise mentally. It's up to you. Right, so the first major reason why you procrastinate so much is probably because you don't have a good enough reason to do the task, which means you don't have a deep why for the action that you're trying to do. I have made an entire video on why you should find out your values and how to find them, and then how to actually bring them into your daily life. And if you would like to watch that video, I've linked it here. But what I'm trying to say is that whenever there's a deeper why, it gives us a very sustainable form of motivation, and then we are able to get over that spurts of procrastination pretty easily. For example, you want to go to the gym, but you're only going to the gym because all your friends are going to the gym, or because you want a summer body, and you just find yourself going there once or twice and then skipping it altogether for the next 4 months and hating it. But if you go to the gym with a deep reason of you want the overall betterment of your physical or mental health over time, I think it is a much more sustainable form of motivation, because then it becomes something that you actually want to do instead of just a task that you're supposed to do. If you find yourself struggling with the why of your task, here are some questions to consider. The first thing is, what are your values? Right? What are your current priorities? Is the thing that you're trying to do in your current priorities, or you want to deprioritize it a little bit? Does this task feel like it aligns with your values? Like I'd say give it a number on a scale of 1 to 10, and if you feel that it's less than 5, just skip it. Like, you're better off not doing it. Why do you want to do this thing? Like I said, do you want to go to the gym because you actually care about your health, or do you want to go to the gym just because all your friends are going? Is there a better reason why you should be doing it instead? How would doing this thing make your life better? Now, if there's a certain reason why you do not want to do this thing, you could also elaborate or think about that, and then you could try to change it. Once we have a deeper why, we are able to develop a much more sustainable form of motivation that is not affected by stupid procrastination tendencies. The second most common reason, and a very big reason why we often procrastinate, is because we are afraid of something. There's some kind of pressure or fear underneath that we haven't yet uncovered, and so it's running the show, and you're just in the backseat thinking you're stupid, lazy, and yeah, all those dirty things that our brains make us believe about ourselves. Now, these are the most common fears that I found that run the show pretty often and are a huge cause for why I procrastinate. The first thing is, are you attaching your self-worth to anything outside of you? For example, you want to go to the gym, and your entire self-worth has become dependent on how your body looks externally, or whether or not you go to the gym. Then what happens is, there's this immense pressure you associate with that activity, and then instead of being something you like, it becomes just this huge attempt to prove yourself or prove your worth, and then pressure actually counterintuitively prevents you from doing that task. This is also true when you attach your sense of identity to a single thing again. Like, if I get good marks, I'm a good person, or I'm a person who always gets good marks. But then what happens is, anytime you go to study, there's this immense pressure of being the best, having everything right, and then that pressure is eventually what stops you from doing that thing. The third question is, are you thinking there is only one right way to do a thing and yours is definitely wrong? What happens is, whenever we try to do things our way, we enjoy the things and we do the things pretty easily, like without any resistance. But we have, especially with social media, we have so many opinions of so many people bombarded upon us, like, this is the right way to do this thing, or you're doing it all wrong, or 10 ways you're eating your food wrong, 10 ways you're sleeping wrong, 10 ways you're exercising wrong. What happens is, then you start to doubt yourself and you're just like, I'm doing it wrong, might as well just not do it. But I would like to remind you that there is no one right way to do anything, and your way is perfectly valid. Now, the other fear is, do you have an unrealistic expectation of yourself? Now, this is true for me. Like, this is what we call perfectionism and the fear of failure. Like, you think that if you don't do this task perfectly, you failed. But that's not true. Good enough is also good enough, and sometimes taking a good enough step gives us the momentum to keep pushing forward, and it becomes much easier to do the task. The other thing is just facing your fear of failure. Like, what happens if you genuinely fail? What happens? The worst case scenario is that you'll have to try again, right? I mean, you don't fail if you don't quit trying. So overcoming your fear of failure is one of the very big steps in decreasing procrastination. Imagine the worst case scenario, accept it, and then ignore it. The other thing is to realize that no one is judging you the way you're judging yourself. Like, if you're afraid to do something because you think that people will judge you, nobody's thinking about you all the time. Everybody's thinking about themselves and how other people are judging them. They'll probably judge you for a second or two and then move on. Now, a good thing to do would be to write down all of these fears, and then you could either say it loud to yourself or tell a friend, and as soon as you name it, you tame it, and you'll realize that all of these fears are way more exaggerated in your head. Then you can go and write down 3 things that you're good at. Anything, it doesn't have to be related to the task, and it will give you that little positive mindset regarding yourself, and then you're good to go. You got this. Now, once you have your why sorted and your fears out of the way, the task becomes 50% easier. But there are still some factors here and there that we should consider, and the most common and overrated of all of them is motivation. Now, the thing with motivation is that I feel like motivation is an emotion, right? And you cannot expect to be in the same emotion all the time. There's this unrealistic expectation with yourself that you should be motivated to do a task all the time, but I'm here to tell you that it is an emotion, and like all emotions, it comes and goes and ebbs and flows, just like the waves do, just like the moon has its phases. All of our emotions also have their phases, and motivation is just one of them. So just accepting that you won't be motivated all the time is a very big step. Now, I know that the general advice around motivation on YouTube and productivity gurus is that when you're not motivated, you should rely on discipline. But the thing is that, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but discipline sounds too negative. At least in my head, it's very like, go, push yourself, do it, discipline. And then that is just another kind of pressure that leads me to procrastinate. What works for me in a much better way is just accepting that I'm not motivated right now. Then if I already have a why for it, I might need some reminding. If I think that I am being afraid of something, I'll try to write it down, and then I reconsider, like, is it okay if I just stop? Is it okay if I wait for my motivation to come to me instead of being this motivation, where's my motivation, like frantically running after it? Is it okay if I just let go and let it come? And what happens is, a lot of times it just comes when you let go of that need to be motivated all the time, and when you say that it's okay, I'll do it when I'm motivated, your motivation comes back. Like, it is okay if your motivation is a wave and not a straight line. And meanwhile, what I do is I look for something else that inspires me, because that feeling of inspiration and motivation is pretty easily transferable. Like, I'll read a good book, I'll look at some art, I'll look at Pinterest. One other thing that I find very helpful to get my motivation going is that I look at other people who are doing the things that I want to do, people that I genuinely like and would like to be like in the future. And just looking at them is like, wow, even I want that. Let's get working. So what you could do is you could follow some studygram pages if you want some studying motivation. You could follow some gym pages if you want gym motivation. And on days when you're not motivated, one of them just puts on something while you're procrastinating and scrolling on Instagram, and you're like, no, I want to be like this person, so I better stop procrastinating and do the task. I think that using these internal positive emotions to fuel your motivation is much more sustainable than just relying on discipline. But that's just me. I mean, if you guys have a better perspective on discipline, which is a little less shameful and pressurizing, please let me know. I would like to try it out. And the last thing to consider is that it's okay if you're not motivated, and it's okay if you're not doing something that you're supposed to do, because it's not feasible to be in the do mode all the time and you're still worthy.